Alright, what is up guys? Losomaniac here, and welcome back to another video. I know I haven't uploaded in 3 weeks, but that's just because I ran out of ideas. But I have one. Today, I want to talk about annoying musical subreddits. Now, I'm not going to list off like the subreddits I find annoying, because either that's on my camera or that's my stigmatism. More likely probably my camera. Sorry, there's like streaks of yellow on the screen. I don't know if that's my astigmatism or if that's just the camera. Um, yeah, maybe my camera's dirty. I'm not sure. Um, but the reason I want to talk about this is because I don't really follow that many musical subreddits just because I like to stay within the realm of what I know. I follow four. I follow r slash Led Zeppelin, r slash Slipknot, r slash Nirvana, and I think r slash Event Sevenfold. I know there's like two Event Sevenfold subreddits. I think I follow r slash Event Sevenfold, something like that. Um, and the reason I am talking about musical subreddits is because they all follow the same annoying rule. I assume these four kind of follow this like some annoying thing, similar like annoying ass rule, and it is that if there's like even a 0.01% of a mention or something similar related to that band, I guarantee you it's gonna be on this damn subreddit. Let me give you an example just so you guys know what I'm talking about. Alright, hold on. First, let me see if I can clean my camera. Alright, that worked. So now it shouldn't be as annoying. So one of the for example of the like minuscule mention that that gets uploaded to the subreddit is r slash Led Zeppelin. Now this isn't like a reoccurring thing, but like every now and then there'll be like really annoying, like minuscule mentions of them. And the one I can think of at the top of my head is, to give context, if you guys don't know Led Zeppelin, they're like one of the famous bands from like the early 60s to like the 70s. They started out in 68, but they didn't upload two albums. They uploaded two albums in 1969, and then they got their up and coming around like the 1970s until their drummer died in, I think, 1980. And then after that, they just broke off. They did do like some reunion tours, but not, or like reunion sets, but not much. I'm a big fan of them. They were like one of my all-time favorite bands. But one of the things that kind of correlates to this annoying post is that everyone, like during the song "Whole Lot of Love," whether performed live or if you listen to the song, there's a theremin in the song. Now, if you guys don't know what a theremin is, it's an instrument that you play with your hands. It's kind of tough to explain, but just Google theremin or like Led Zeppelin theremin and you will understand what I'm talking about. But the thing is that, like I mentioned before, during like live performances of Whole Lot of Love, they will use theremins. Or Jimmy Page, specifically the guitarist, will use a theremin. Which is fine. They can do whatever they want. But the problem is that this Reddit user, this was like, I think from like last year. I've been holding on to this for like a year now. They took a photo of what was like a musical store with what was it? It was a musical store that had a sign that says theremin on sale. So like you have a small discount on theremins. Someone took a photo of that and uploaded to r slash Led Zeppelin, no context whatsoever. So people who just listen to the song, or people who don't know much about Led Zeppelin or like what instruments are used, they would be really confused. Now, notice I didn't say true Led Zeppelin fans, because I know that fact, and I don't consider myself a true Led Zeppelin fan. Some people may consider me that way. I don't. But so if you're just like an average like Led Zeppelin listener who just listens to songs and don't really care about instruments or don't really know what other instruments besides like the main four that are on there, then you check out the subreddit, you're gonna be fucking confused as to why there's like a mention of like some instrument. Some of you guys may think like, oh, maybe Jimmy Page has worked here in the past, and the people are excited about it. No, the reason why it was on r slash Led Zeppelin was because there was a theremin involved, because they used theremins in their songs, not in, like 2 songs, I think. So what's the point? Like there's no need for that. And I'm not gonna be able to link the like posts mentioned because I can't fucking find them. I know they're there. I know for a fact, but I'm not gonna search through all that just to. Besides, I don't want to send the person hate, but just know, and if you're watching this, I don't really condone hate of these posts. I just think they need to be like gone. So yeah, if you don't really know much about Led Zeppelin and you see that, you can be like, I am so confused. Why did they mention a theremin? So if you see this, if you are watching this, yeah, there's a theremin in there. Another thing that is very common amongst and I'll get to like other. Actually, I should probably go one at a time. Another like small detail of like another subreddit is on r slash Nirvana. There was a post on there recently that well, not recently, but like a couple months ago or whatever. I can't remember. And it was of a photo. It was a photo of like and or it came with a photo, and the photo was like the front of a book that said God is gay. No context either. Now the reason why this was on the post, some of you guys may be wondering, is because of the fact that in one of the lines to the song "Stay Away," the final thing that Kurt Cobain sings, if you didn't know, is God is gay. Again, just like the theremin, if you don't really pay much attention to lyrics or you don't really know what he's saying, I think that's the only time God is gay is ever mentioned in any goddamn song of Nirvana. So the fact that like one lyric in an entire song is mentioned, it just seems ridiculous that you would put it on a book or you would take a photo of a book with the same title and then put it on a subreddit for like maybe 1 or 2 people to get it. To be honest, I didn't get it. The reason I know this was because of that stupid book, that stupid post. And then like I had to Google like Nirvana God is gay, and then sure enough, it was lyrics to the song off their like second or third album, depending on how you look at it. I think it's their third album. Because it's the Bleach album, Incesticide, and then Nevermind. Some people consider that the second album. I consider it their third album because I consider Incesticide as like one whole like album of its own. Mostly for like Spotify usage. I needed something for Spotify. I needed 4 albums because otherwise it's gonna be on Bleach the whole time. So I used Incesticide as the main album. So yeah. So the problem with that is the fact that yeah, in their album Nevermind, there's a song called Stay Away where the final lyric sung is God is gay. By the way, that was the only mention of Nirvana in that entire post. It wasn't made by Kurt Cobain, I don't think. More likely, it probably wasn't. If it was made by Kurt Cobain, then or like any member of Nirvana, then yeah, it's understandable as to why it's on there. You have the book of a certain member of Nirvana, but it wasn't. It was the fact that like God is gay was mentioned, or was the name of the book title. Now all of a sudden, it's now like every time someone says God is gay, it's a guarantee that it's gonna be about fucking Nirvana. No, it shouldn't be, at least, but whatever. Who cares? I'll tell you who. Me. I care. Because this is the. But I'm not the only one that thinks so. A lot of these, like. Now, again, I don't know if this is common with, like, all other subreddits, but the 4 main ones I follow are just the same ones. Another thing that happens. This one isn't, like, a common one, but this one hasn't even appeared at all. But I'll give you guys like an example in case you guys are still confused as to what I'm talking about. Some of you guys may be like, okay, so those are just 2 examples. Can you give like a somewhat of a weird one or whatever, just in case you guys are confused? Let me explain. So this hasn't appeared in like r slash Slipknot, but I'll give you guys like context and examples. So the 9 main members of Slipknot. Yes, there are 9 members of Slipknot. don't. And when I say main, I don't mean I mean like the original band members. Even though they've had replacements here and there, they still have replacements. They replaced their drummer, bassist, and other percussionist, meaning that the original percussionist of the band is still in there. He's like the founding member of Slipknot. But so yeah, each of the 9 members, original members before one of the original members died and was kicked out the group. 2 of them, well, one of them died and the other one was kicked off the group. So before, kind of around the point 0.5 era, 0.5 the Great Chapter era was when like the replacements came in. So before that, their first album up until All Hope Is Gone, they've had the original members, and each of the members had a certain number from 0 to 8. I don't know them all. I used to, but all I know is that their DJ was was 0. Their drummer was number 1. Their bass player was number 2. I think their percussionist was number 3. Their second percussionist was number 3. I think their guitarist was number 4. I think their keyboardist was number 5. Their other guitarist, their other percussionist was 6. Their other guitarist was 7, and then their lead singer was 8. So it's 0 through 8. If you guys are Slipknot fans, let me know if I got that right. I can't remember. So yeah, so 0 through 8. That's the numbers we're working with. I guarantee you that there will be a post on r/Slipknot at some point in the near future that's going to be like, oh, 0 and 8. Just like Slipknot, right? Like, I guarantee, if this is already up here, I would not be surprised at all. Or another thing that happens a lot, which is understandable, but it goes on a lot longer than it should. But that's about I guess that's the minuscule part of it. r/Avenged Sevenfold doesn't really have much. The only thing I can think of is that people are just like ranking albums and whatnot, but that's not that big of a deal. Around the time that like Spotify would have like a yearly wrap up thing, a lot of people would be like, oh, I listen to Avenged Sevenfold more, does that make me cool? Like, no. You know what makes you cool? It's not uploading that shit. So yeah, now we move on to like the most commonly uploaded stuff on these subreddits. Starting off with Slipknot being the number one thing that's uploaded the most on Slipknot is questions about favorite bands other than Slipknot. And now I will answer this on my half in hopes that people will stop uploading these because no one cares. Yes, we get it. Slipknot is your favorite band ever, but you don't really need to express in hopes that other people. To me, these sort of comments mean like, am I the only one that listens to other bands aside from Slipknot? Yes. You are not the only one. And the fact that you have to ask this proves it. Look, alright. So I'm going to answer this on top of I'm going to answer this question just that way if some people from Reddit are watching this, they will understand, from these certain subreddits will understand what my likes are. Obviously, Nirvana is one. I am wearing their shirt. I have heard all of their albums. Although this doesn't mean that like, this is just, I'm not saying that to like prove the fact that I listen to Nirvana. But I have like my own personal rule that affects me where like I have to listen to all the band songs and whatnot before I get a shirt of theirs because I just feel like I'm going to be pressured at some point to be like, oh, you listen to Nirvana, name all of their albums. It's like, okay, well they have like 12 albums. Well, not Nirvana, they have like 3 or 4. But yeah, so this is like a personal rule I have of myself. I gatekeep myself into like, oh, you listen to this band, how many albums of theirs do you know? So yeah, so aside from Slipknot, obviously Nirvana, Avenged Sevenfold, obviously those are the subreddits I follow, and Led Zeppelin. Those are the 4 main big band subreddits I follow. Yeah, but aside from those 4, I really like Gojira. I'm listening to Hailstorm, not as much as I want to. I did finish up listening to Primus. I binge listen bands. I did finish up Primus. I'm currently listening to the Foo Fighters. So I do like all sorts of like rock and heavy metal genres. My heaviest I would go is probably Whitechapel. I do kind of want to branch out to like death metals like Cannibal Corpse or whatnot. I do like. I will say to some Avenged Sevenfold fans watching, their first two albums are not the best, but between those two, I think Waking the Fallen is their best album that they've ever had. It is amazing to listen to. All the songs in there are absolutely amazing. Their first album is just not really that good. Not to say I don't like it, but it's just compared to those. Um, then like Sounding the Seventh Trumpet, if we're ranking them from like best to worst, is definitely their worst album. Granted, it is a first album, but still, like that's just my own personal opinion. But yeah, Gojira, I actually saw them live. They were absolutely amazing. Granted, they were opening for Slipknot, but still, I did like their stuff. I have heard the new Fortitude album. It is awesome. My favorite songs on that album, in case any Gojira fans are watching, is definitely maybe um, Sphinx, although Amazonia is pretty good. Born for One Thing, Another World, all of that. Some songs I do find a bit lacking, so much so I haven't heard them in a while. I've only heard them once, and that was it. So I can't list off some of them because maybe I'll like them in the near future. Hailstorm, I'm a bit lacking behind on. They did release a new song. I don't know if they've released a new album yet. I do know that they did release a new song, so I do need to listen to it. Um, so yeah, so other than Slipknot events, so I guess other than like the main four subreddits I follow, Gojira, Primus, and Hailstorm are amongst my favorite that I have heard. Foo Fighters, I'm kind of liking. I'm more used to Dave Grohl and Nirvana, so that's probably why. No disrespect to Dave Grohl. Their song "Walking with You" or whatever. It is an amazing song. It's off their album, the Color and the Shapes, or the Color and or the Colors and the Shape or whatever. It's off the same album Everlong is in, as well as My Hero, I think. Yeah. So if you guys do want a good, nice acoustic song, there's one for you. So yeah. So other than the main four, like I've said already, Primus, Gojira, and Hailstorm are amongst my personal favorites outside of those four. So there's that. Um, and just to get this out the way, what do I think of the new Slipknot song? It is awesome. It definitely has very like if black metal kind of met their first album. I only say that because I'm terrible at music. I am horrible at like music reviews. But the beginning of the song does sound like something you would hear off their first album, but it does meet some like black metal in there with like blast beats and trem picking. I think that was the sort of direction they were going, and I can't remember, but yeah. So, and yes, I do know that Corey Taylor's son is in a band, so that's not amongst the popular ones, but just like if people are wondering, yes, I do know that Corey Taylor and Sean's or Clown's son is in the same band together. Yes, I do know that. Don't ask. And yes, I do also like Stone Sour. Alright, let's get that out the way now. I know there are some Slipknot fans who are going to be like, did you know that Yes, I do know that Corey Taylor is in a separate band. He started Stone Sour with Jim Root. I do know that. They are amazing. Another list of groups that are amongst my favorite, but I just don't listen to a whole lot just because I prefer songs that I know a lot of. And Slipknot, Avenged Sevenfold, Led Zeppelin, and Nirvana are amongst the ones that I enjoy the most. Even though I haven't listened to Nirvana in like almost a year, whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Led Zeppelin is mostly consistent of like favorite songs or like underrated songs. So I'll give you my personal favorite songs. Aside from Stairway to Heaven, because that's like my go-to favorite song. Outside of that, I don't really have a whole lot. I do love long ass songs, so songs like In My Time of Dying, Achilles Last Stand, and Carousel Lumber are amongst my favorite. If we're not counting Stairway, of course, but outside of that, I don't know. So I guess my top 5 favorite Led Zeppelin songs is not in order, first of all, because it's tough to rank them, is Stairway to Heaven, In My Time of Dying, Carousel Umbra, Achilles That Stand, and When the Levee Breaks. Although Levee Breaks may change, I'm not sure. I'm not sure to what it would be, though. Just whatever I'm in the mood for. And I think the most underrated song is either Hats Off to Roy Harper, because no one fucking likes that song. Down by, well, except me. It's an oddly amazing song. Down by the Seaside, no one ever really talks about that. Or just any song off of Physical Graffiti, because there's so many songs on there. So I guess either The Rover, Down by the Seaside, or Night Flight. Those are like the main ones that people don't really talk about a whole lot of. But a personal underrated song of mine is, yes, this is an actual Led Zeppelin song, 10 Ribs and All, like the actual and symbol, not just spelt out, the actual and symbol, / carrot pod in parentheses pod. That is an actual song of theirs. It was released, it's in like the deluxe version of like Led Zeppelin songs. If you guys don't know, they have a lot of deluxe edition songs that's mostly like first draft songs and whatever, and that song is on there. It is an amazing song. It's very piano and acoustic-y, so I advise you guys go check it out. If you want to, I should upload it to the Led Zeppelin subreddit to get people to talk about it, because I will not stop talking about it on there until people know it, because it is infuriating how underappreciated those are. And for that matter, most underrated songs are those ones that you can only find on the deluxe edition of albums. Keys to the Highway, La La, I think, and 10 Ribs and All. There aren't really that much in Physical Graffiti, or Coda. That's another thing. I think the entire Coda album is very underappreciated. So there's that. Nirvana, and oh yeah, and as for the ranking of albums, I think Coda is by far is decent. Kind of going in order, I guess. Their first album is good, but it leaves much to be desired. I'm a new age person, so mostly around the time I think Coda would be my favorite, but it's not really. Led Zeppelin 2, it kind of picks it up a bit. Really good songs, although, again, some are very forgettable, like the Lemon Song and whatever. And just the Lemon Song, and that's pretty much it. The Lemon Song is, compared to the rest, it's not my favorite. Led Zeppelin 3 has Hats Off to Roy Harper, but I still like it. I do think Celebration Day is a very hit or miss song. Some days I like it, some days I don't, but the rest of the songs on that album I really enjoy. Yes, even Hats Off to Roy Harper. I'm gonna keep mentioning that until I trigger like everyone on that goddamn subreddit. Led Zeppelin 4 is by far my personal favorite. Every song on there is amazing. The only like one song I'd say I don't like is the Battle of Evermore, just cause maybe I'm missing something. It's just not a personal favorite of mine, but that's just how it is. And then not Physical Graffiti. Houses of the Holy is a really good album. Songs like No Quarter. No Quarter was one that I wasn't really a fan of at the start, but now I really liked it. The Rain song, the song remains the same. All of the songs on that album are really fantastic. Again, not that much really less desirable songs on there. I would say the only song, if I had to pick one song on that album I don't like, it's The Crunge. I don't get it. I'm more used to I understand that they're like trying to branch out into like other stuff. Jamaica, or Dire Maker, if you don't know how to pronounce it, it's pronounced Jamaica, but it's spelled like Dire Maker. Just in case you were wondering, it's actually a fantastic song. Very surprising how good it is. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Physical Graffiti, I talked about. It's a long ass album. It's like a double-sided album. It's big enough to fit like it could be two separate albums, but they decided to cram it into one. So there's a lot of songs on there. Some of my personal favorites is Bron Rar. That's how it's pronounced. Or Bon Year R, if you don't know how to pronounce it. Kashmir. I'm gonna say Cashier. Kashmir is definitely the most overrated song on that album, because it's like everyone's favorite song. Either that or Stairway, which I'm fine to admit that Stairway is a very overrated song because that's like everyone's personal favorite. Um, Everyone seems to like that song, even though a lot of people seem to hate it. I don't know what I'm going at. Down by the Seaside is pretty interesting. The only song I would say is very. I don't really think this. I mean, I'm tired of In the Light. I am tired of that song. Just because I heard it a lot, it was my personal favorite on the album. But then I kept listening to it so many times. I'm like, I am so tired of that song. Some underrated ones off that album, I would definitely say is probably the Wanton song. No one ever talks about the Wanton song. The guitars on that, the drums on that are amazing. Um, the whole groove of the song is amazing, as well as Down by the Seaside and Night Flight, as well as The Rover, but I prefer Down by the Seaside over the rest, just because it's an interesting song that a lot of people don't like. And then yeah, and then Presence is one that I don't get it. Achilles' Last Stand and Nobody's Fault But Mine are like the two good songs, or like the two best songs on that album. There are some good ones on there, but my least favorite one on that album is T for One. I don't get it. It's slower. I think it's around the same realm as Since I've Been Loving You, where it's slow, it's just melodic, but it's just not for me. So yeah, and then In Through the Outdoor, a good song or a good album. A lot of people don't seem to like it. I will say the only like downside of this album is that Southbound Suarez is on there, and yeah, it's good, but it's hit or miss for some people. And then, yeah, and then Coda, I'm not really a fan of. They do have good songs like Poor Tom, but if I had to pick between like Presence or Coda, I'm picking Presence because I like maybe one song off Coda. With Presence, I like two. Yeah, so those are the most commonly asked things on r slash Led Zeppelin. R slash Nirvana doesn't really have a whole lot. Yeah, it's just a lot of like fan art, which is fine, but after a while, it's so much to deal with. Yeah, thankfully they don't have like the whole like did Courtney Love murder Kurt Cobain stuff. That's not allowed, thank God, because you would see. I'm pretty sure you would see so much of it on there. Like, do you guys believe that Kurt Cobain was murdered, or do you think he actually committed suicide? Like every week, I guarantee you, if that was available on that damn subreddit, you would see it once a week. I guarantee it. And then Event Sevenfold's like most common, like R-Stats Event Sevenfold's most common post is like, when is the album gonna be released? I can't wait for the album. Or again, rankings of albums. So I would do that quickly. Sounding the Seventh Trumpet, like I mentioned before, not their best work. Granted, it is a first album, but I do believe that first albums are really good. I do find Slipknot's album pretty bad. Granted, I'm a new age person, so I'm more used to like the point 5 grade chapter, even though like Iowa is a pretty good album. So I guess if you were to go like backwards, from like the first album being the worst and like the newest album being the best, that's exactly how it would be for me. I guess let's start that. But yeah, so the first album of Avenged Sevenfold isn't really that good. It's missing a lot. It's the only good songs, or is the first song and Warmness on the Soul. Those are like the only two good songs off that album. I do like I forgot what it's called, Darkness Surrounding or whatever. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But so there is some good songs on there, but it's not their best work in my opinion. Wake in the Fallen is by far my favorite album of theirs. Either that or Nightmare or Hail to the King. Hail to the King is a very underappreciated album, but I'll start with Wake in the Fallen. A lot of the songs on that album were pretty good. If you guys want some good ones, I Won't See You Tonight Part 1 is a pretty good one. My other favorite is Clairvoyance Disease. Um, um, no, it's the second song. I can't remember. Um, I can't, I'm not gonna lie. I can't remember. I can't remember the song. It's like the most popular song off that album. But yeah, so for the most part, that album is amazing. No really bad songs on there. Oh, and if you guys are wondering what my least favorite song is on the first album, The Art of Subconscious Illusion. I think that's what it's called. Um, but it's The Art of something in there. That's like my least favorite album, or my least favorite song. Now we move on to City of Evil, another really good album. Um, Again, Sidewinder is there are some like good. There's a lot of good songs, but there are some that are bad. The Sidewinder is pretty forgettable for me. Yeah. Now we have the White Album, or as people call it, Avenged Sevenfold album. Another really good album. This album I kind of grew up with, so I have a bit of a bias. My family owned this album. The only difference was it was censored. So that basically leaves A Little Piece of Heaven out of the equation. It was still on there, but like you can't really enjoy that song censored because you missed out on the story of it at some point. So yeah, I do have a bias against this one because I did grow up with this album. Not really a whole lot of bad songs. Not to say that there aren't any on the album, but maybe some people won't like Brompton Cocktail or whatever. I like it. It's one of my favorites on that album. And then Nightmare, again, probably second or third favorite album that they have made, or I guess fourth favorite album, depending on how I look at it. As a whole, it's a really good album. Not really that many forgettable songs. I listen to it a lot. Mostly the instrumental versions because I love instrumental songs. So there's that. Hail to the King is by far the most underappreciated album ever. I do think it's one of their best, not their best, but one of their best. I do think that it doesn't get the appreciation it rightfully deserves. But I do understand when people may not like it. It's with a new drummer. It is not one that was very favored by most. Not to say that Brooks Wackerman and the Rev aren't the best. But as compared to like the Rev, like they had to catch up to the Rev, and he missed the target by a bit, but it's still a good album nonetheless. And The Stage was where they hit their stride again. It's the best album that they made since the Rev died. Well, I'm considering that since the Rev didn't really drum on all the songs of Avenged Sevenfold, then I would say that Hail to the King is the first album without the Rev entirely. And then The Stage was their comeuppance. It's the best album they have made since the Rev passed away. And yeah, and before you guys ask, I think Diamonds in the Rough is an okay album. They have a couple of good songs, like Girl I Know, and Demons. That's a personal favorite of mine because I think I relate to that on a somewhat of a level. Dancing Dead is amazing. I'm trying to think what else. The song Until the End, that was a song I grew up with also, so again, a bit of a bias towards that one. And yeah, so those are the most commonly things you will see in musical subreddits. If you guys follow different subreddits, let me know. Well, first of all, which ones you guys follow? I'd love to hear from that. I love to hear that. And if it's just as repetitive as it always is, because if it is, then maybe we'll figure something out. But to people watching this who are from these subreddits, stop uploading these. Alright? Stop posting these stupid things all the time. No one cares. And you're just doing it for karma. Or you're just doing it for attention. That's all you're doing this for. Because you could easily go through the entire damn subreddit and see that there are about 5 of these. 5 of these same comments, even though I'm thinking of r/Slipknot at the moment, because this happens a lot. Every like 3 days do I see posts that are like, aside from Slipknot, what's your favorite band? Like, no one cares. Yes, you can ask once, but stop it. Alright? What the mods need to do is they need to pin this comment, or they need to pin these questions onto their main page so that they know, so that way people know that this question has been asked hundreds of times and they can stop. Alright? And yeah, and to the people of r/Led Zeppelin and r/Nirvana who post the minuscule thing on there, stop. No one cares. Yes, we get it. It's a reference to Nirvana, but that's a very minuscule thing that maybe one or two people will understand. So stop. And to Avenged Sevenfold, I guess, and to r/Avenged Sevenfold, I'd say stop with the album rankings. And once the whole Spotify wrap up comes up, stop posting those. No one cares. No one cares that your favorite band of all time is Avenged Sevenfold, that you listen to them every damn day since the ball dropped. Like, every damn day you have to listen to that playlist. You have been on it every day since the ball dropped, since it was midnight on January 1st up until December 31st. No one cares. Alright? And if they did care, then congratulations, you have new friends. But to the people, to the other people who don't care, yeah, we don't care. Stop, please. All right. And yeah. And to the, I'm guilty of this, but I will say, but to the people who say that their band is more superior than the rest, stop. And look, this is like the pot calling the kettle black. I get it because I am guilty of this. There was a post on Led Zeppelin, on r/Led Zeppelin that said that like the it was like an album ranking thing. It was posted on like classic rock and then on like a rap section, it was the best album between like To Kill a Butterfly and Led Zeppelin 2. The classic rock voted for Led Zeppelin more, but then To Kill a Butterfly was voted most on the rap section. And I jokingly said that people who like Led Zeppelin 2 the most have better taste in music. That was a joke, but I'm a hypocrite in this case, but I learned my lesson. You know, we learn lessons. But to the people who think that their band is more superior than others, fucking stop. It's everywhere on fucking Reddit, and it has to stop. I'm tired of it. Again, I was guilty of it too, but that was like a one-time thing, but now I'm fine. So yeah, if you follow a certain subreddit, let me know, or if you follow any of these musical, or any musical subreddits for that matter, let me know, one, which one you follow, two, if they match up with some of these, and three, if they do, tell me, give me examples, or like very popular questions, or posts on there, because I'm kind of curious as to whether or not it's just those musical bands, or if it's just these four that are very guilty of it, or if there are other. I mean, there obviously has to be like reoccurring things because people are new. Most of them are kids. Oh, another thing that appears on r/Led Zeppelin a lot is, when did you discover Led Zeppelin? And I'm going to tell you why this makes sense and why it's annoying. So it makes sense because, like I mentioned before, Reddit is a fairly new thing. It's a fairly new thing. And we'll compare it to like Led Zeppelin albums. Which I think Led Zeppelin 4 hit its 50th anniversary, I think, a couple weeks ago, actually. So it was awesome. Or a week ago, I think. So that's pretty awesome. But every now and then you will see like posts on r/Led Zeppelin talking about like when you discovered Led Zeppelin. So I will answer this. Around 16 or 17, I finished listening to them my senior year of high school, so I was 17 at the time. I graduated in 2019, so yeah, I was 17 when I finished listening to their stuff. And yeah, but do people really care about the fact that you discovered Led Zeppelin at the age of 5? No, no one cares. Stop. Alright, anyways, before this video becomes like an hour long, I'm going to end it here. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like down below. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and then if you do subscribe, hit that bell notification to be notified as to when I upload, because I don't have a schedule. Obviously, this is my first post in like 3 weeks. So, well, this is my first video upload for the first time in like 3 weeks. So, I did have a video planned. I was going to talk about like a Mass Effect, my proper review on it, considering that my review I uploaded was like a first look thing. But I was suffering through COVID symptoms and whatnot, and I deleted that list. So I'm going to have to go back, watch the video, add on the list, see if anything changes or whatnot. And yeah, so yeah, be on the lookout for that one. I definitely want to remake that one because I feel bad just because a lot of my opinions have changed over time with in regards to the game. Some of the stuff still stayed the same, but overall my opinions have changed. So yeah, with that being said, Loser Maniac out.